Hi everybody. In this video we're going to be looking at subsidies, and a subsidy is when money is given by the government to a firm, and the purpose of this is to increase production of a certain product. Because what happens when they receive the money, this effectively lowers their costs, because the amount of costs they have will reduce because some of the money is being paid for now by the government. They're receiving this money from the government. So it lowers their costs. And we know that if a firm's costs are lowered, this enables them to supply more. They can supply more because it's not costing them so much to make things. So they can supply more. And we can show the subsidy in action on a diagram. An example of a subsidy might be a subsidy to increase the production of low CO2 emitting vehicles. So car companies might be given subsidies to encourage them to increase the amount of low CO2 emitting cars that they're producing. So when they receive the subsidy, their costs go down and therefore they can supply more. So if it is a unit subsidy, we'll generally assume this, a unit subsidy, we have a parallel shift to the right of our supply. So supply is increased. So now we can see what the situation is at our new equilibrium. And you can see that at the new equilibrium, the price for the product is lower. And therefore, we can see that there's been an extension of demand. Because the price is lower, more people can afford the product, and therefore we move along the demand curve here. There's this extension of demand. So you can see that the subsidy is effective in increasing production and also increasing the consumption of this product, because the subsidy makes the price fall. And then, just like with taxes, you can use this diagram in your exam to give more detail and show that you have more understanding of how subsidies work. So again, just like with the taxes, you need to start at your new equilibrium. So always start at the new equilibrium when you're drawing on your areas onto your diagram. So we start at the new equilibrium here. We need to go to our old supply curve up here, and then we need to come across and make our rectangle. And when you've made this big rectangle, this large area here is the total subsidy that has to be paid by the government to the firm. The distance between these two lines, just like with a tax, is the subsidy. And then we know that this is the quantity now being outputted, and there's a subsidy on every unit. And therefore, the total subsidy is this area. So just like before, we can label the corners like this. So the total subsidy is the area A, B, C, P1. And just like with a tax, you can divide this large box using the old equilibrium. So the old equilibrium is here. If you bring it across, you can split this rectangle in two. We're learning about subsidies second. So we're going to swap round our top and bottom box letters from the taxes. So now the top box is the subsidy received by producers, and the bottom box is the subsidy received by consumers. So the subsidy received by producers in this diagram is the area A, B, let's put another letter here, E, P, A, B, E, P. And the subsidy received by consumers is the bottom box, PEC P1. PEC P1. So this shows you overall what happens when a subsidy is put in place. And in an exam, you may be asked to draw the diagram, or you might want to do it in a longer question to really show your understanding of the theory. And the diagram allows you to show that the price has fallen, the quantity has increased, the area of the total subsidy, the subsidy received by producers, and the subsidy received by consumers.